All right, so you know how much we love to really dig deep on this show.
We do love a good deep dive.
And today, oh boy, have we got a deep dive for you. We're talking industrial safety.
Okay.
And I know you're thinking safety. That doesn't exactly sound like a thrill a minute.
Not the most exhilarating topic.
Right. But trust me on this one. This one got me thinking.
Really? What is it?
Okay, so picture this. You're at like a safety conference, right?
Right.
Big room, lots of booths, people milling about, and you see this person. And I've got this t-shirt on.
Okay.
And the t-shirt says, "Zero accidents is not smart." What? That's what I thought. Like, whoa, hold on a second. Isn't that the whole point of safety? Zero accidents.
That's the goal, isn't it?
You'd think so. But this is where it gets interesting. So this deep dive, we're diving into a LinkedIn article. And this article, it's by safety expert Charlie Winstrom-Brochure.
Okay.
He's the one who kind of threw this whole zero accidents is not smart thing out there.
Really? Okay, so what's he saying?
And you know what makes this even better? We're going to be looking at the comments. Because you know how those comment sections can get.
Oh, yeah, they can be a goldmine.
People get real passionate, especially about safety. But, okay, so back to Charlie in this bold statement. So, we all know the deal, right? Zero accidents. It's held up as the gold standard.
Yeah, the ultimate goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Charlie's arguing that, well, aiming for zero accidents might actually be doing more harm than good.
Really? How so?
That's the thing. It seems counterintuitive, right? But it's like this weird paradox.
Yeah.
Because on the surface, of course, everyone wants zero accidents.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not always that straightforward. And that's what his article digs into. It's like this pressure, right? This intense pressure to reach zero accidents. It can actually make workplaces less safe.
That doesn't make sense. How does that work?
Because people get scared to report things.
Afraid to report accidents? Why?
Exactly. There's this fear, right? Like, if I report every little thing, am I going to get in trouble? Will my boss think I'm a walking hazard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. So they just try to brush things under the rug.
Exactly. Charlie actually quotes Dr. Jane Smith. She's an industrial safety expert, and she calls it a culture of underreporting.
That makes sense.
It's like, let's say you're working in this really busy restaurant kitchen. Orders are flying left and right.
Okay.
Things are chaotic. You know how it is. And you're chopping veggies. You're going as fast as you can, trying to keep up. And bam, you nick your finger with a knife.
Ouch.
Not a huge cut, but still. You got to make a choice.
Let me guess. Patch it up yourself. Or...
Do you stop everything, flag down the manager, fill out an incident report, maybe even deal with getting bandaged up?
Oh, for a little nick.
Or do you just quickly slap on a Band-Aid and hope for the best?
Yeah, it's easy to see how someone might choose the quicker option.
Right. Especially if, deep down they're worried about getting in trouble for it. Or if they've seen that happen to other people.
Makes sense. But that lack of reporting, that's got to have some downsides.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what we're going to get into. Because if you're not reporting those minor incidents, those near misses, how can you learn from them? You're missing out on valuable data.
Exactly. It's like, how can you prevent bigger accidents if you don't even know the little things that are contributing to them? It's all connected.
100%. So if zero accidents isn't the answer, then what is? What's the alternative?
Well, that's what I think is so clever about Charlie's article. He says, we need to shift our focus.
Okay, I'm listening. Shift our focus to what?
He says, instead of zero accidents, we need to think smart.
Smart? Like, are we talking about those voice assistant things? The ones that can, like, order your groceries and stuff?
Not quite. Though I guess you could say it's a smart way to think about safety goals.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me. What does SMART even stand for in this context?
So SMART is an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound.
Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Okay, I'm starting to see how this applies. It's kind of like, instead of just saying, I want to get in shape, which is, let's be honest, kind of vague.
Right.
You'd say something like, I'm going to run for 30 minutes 3 times a week for the next month.
Exactly. You've made it measurable. You've given yourself a timeline. It's a specific goal you can actually work towards.
And you can track your progress, see if you're actually meeting your targets.
Precisely. And that's what makes SMART goals so effective for workplace safety, too. It's about moving away from this abstract idea of zero accidents and setting concrete, achievable targets.
So instead of zero accidents, a SMART goal might be something like...
It could be something like reduce reported slips, trips, and falls in the warehouse by 20% over the next quarter.
Oh, I see. So you're not just hoping for zero accidents. You're actively working towards a specific, measurable target.
And that's the key difference. It becomes less about chasing an impossible standard and more about continuous improvement.
You're always looking at the data, analyzing what's working, what's not, and making adjustments along the way.
And this data-driven approach, it allows you to see the impact of those changes. Are your safety measures actually making a difference? The numbers will tell you.
Which has to feel way more effective than just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best, right?
Absolutely. And the best part is, this isn't just some abstract theory. People in the safety world are really engaging with this idea. Like Charlie's article, it sparked this whole debate in the comments.
Oh, I bet. So what are people saying? Give me the highlights. What are some of the key takeaways from that comment section?
Well, there's this one comment from Asdrubal Prieto N, and he brings up a really important point.
Okay, what's he saying?
He's saying that even with the best safety policies in place, none of it matters.
None of it matters
if leadership isn't fully on board.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You can have all the safety trainings and the fancy equipment in the world, but if the bosses aren't taking it seriously,
it just sends the wrong message.
Exactly. It's like, why should we bother if they don't?
And then there's Lena Maria Alzate Giraldo. She brings up this really interesting caveat to the whole zero accidents goal.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the caveat?
She's saying it can be a good starting point, this idea of zero accidents, but if it's not implemented thoughtfully, it can backfire.
In what way?
Well, she's worried that if you become too fixated on the number itself, that zero, it can create this culture of fear.
Right, because then people are so afraid to report anything that they
stay silent, and that undermines the whole purpose of safety.
Exactly. Because you're not actually making anything safer, you're just hiding the problems.
Precisely. And then there's this comment from Viren Cristals, and he makes this really interesting comparison.
Okay, lay it on me. What's the comparison?
He compares striving for zero accidents to Volvo cars.
Oh, Volvo cars. Now that's a curveball I was not expecting. What do cars have to do with workplace safety?
Okay, so think about it this way. Volvo, they don't design their cars with the goal of zero accidents.
Well, I mean, that would be lovely, but...
Of course, but they acknowledge that accidents happen. It's a reality.
Right.
What they focus on is building safety features that protect drivers and passengers when those accidents occur.
It's like they're not saying this car will never crash. It's more like, okay, we know crashes happen.
Yeah.
So how do we make sure people are as safe as possible when they do?
Exactly. And that's a powerful way to think about safety, I think. Because it's not about denying reality, it's about being prepared for it.
Building in those safeguards, like you said.
So that even when mistakes happen, the consequences are minimized. And Ronnie Aguirre, he makes a similar point in the comments too.
Okay, what does Ronnie say?
He's advocating for what he calls a balanced approach. So it's not just about preventing accidents, which is obviously important.
Right.
It's also about having those systems in place to respond effectively when they do happen.
Because let's face it, even with the best safety measures in the world, sometimes stuff happens.
Exactly. You can't control every variable.
Like you have a fire extinguisher, right?
Yeah.
You hope you never have to use it.
Right.
But if there's a fire, you're sure to be glad you have it.
100%. It's about being prepared for those oh no moments. So, okay, thinking about our listeners, right?
Yeah, what does this all mean for them? Regardless of what industry they're in, what kind of work they do.
What are the takeaways here? I think a big part of it is shifting our mindset, moving away from this idea that zero accidents is the only measure of success.
Because like we've been talking about, that can actually be counterproductive.
Yeah, it can create this culture of fear and silence, which helps no one.
Instead, it's about creating a culture where people feel safe speaking up.
Exactly. Where reporting a near miss is seen as a good thing.
Right. Because it's a chance to learn to prevent that near miss from becoming a real accident next time.
It's about constantly looking for ways to improve, to make things safer for everyone.
And I think it's a great note to end on, this idea of continuous improvement. So for everyone listening, here's a question to ponder. If zero accidents isn't the ultimate goal, then what is? What's the true measure of success when it comes to workplace safety? It's something to think about.
It really is. And with that, I think we've done our deep dive for today.
We have. Big thanks to our expert for joining us. Always a pleasure to chat safety with you. Until next time, everyone, stay safe out there.